talking with Emily Hagins, the director of her third feature film now, at the tender age of 19. You're still 19, right?
Yes.
And we're here to see My Sucky Teen Romance, her third picture, as I said. Emily, you're so young. You're now directed 3 pictures, and I actually saw Zombie Girl, the documentary on you. And so I know that you and your family also handle all the casting, all the editing and lighting, and you wrote the scripts. How your first movie, you came out when you were 13, I believe. That was Pathogen. And so you must have written the script when you were 11 or 12?
Yes.
How did you get into this? How did it all get started?
Well, I mean, you said you saw Zombie Girl, so
Yes.
My parents were very encouraging, and my dad wanted to show me like a one-day process about how to make a short film. And so he just walked me through the steps, and I knew it wasn't, you can just grab a camera and go shoot. You had to have a script and a storyboard, a shot list, and it involved editing, and he made me do everything myself. And that was one thing my parents always supported, was that I learned how to do things, and they weren't going to do them for me, and that's how I was going to learn. And I loved everything about the process, and I just wanted to make bigger and better movies. And that's kind of where it all started. It was with my dad. One day when I was homesick from school, not too sick so I could make the movie, but and then I just wanted to keep making more movies.
That's great. Now, how long did it take you actually to write your first script?
A few months, I'd say. Yeah, it went through revisions, but nothing major. I didn't really have anybody I could ask for notes from, except for I had a few friends that had made a couple of independent films, and so they were very helpful with the script. But it was kind of like just trying to get it all done and just see what happened, which, that process has changed a lot over the years, so I do a lot more planning now. But at first it was a lot of planning and also figuring out what worked and what didn't work.
You basically had to cast your own cast, and it was mostly friends that you knew and people that you met from school. Yeah. What was it like? Because not only are you learning to be a director, and you're filming, and then you're basically teaching people how to act as well. So you were taking on that whole process. Has it eased up a little bit over the years?
Yeah, I guess I've had enough experiences to figure out the system that I like and what works for me to best communicate that to the people I want to work with. And so the casting process, I figured out some people I want to keep working with and roles that I could use them for, and also what I'm looking for in different actors for different parts. With Sucky Teen Romance, I was looking for actors that felt like real kids and not grown-ups pretending to be kids. And so there's a lot of genuine performances and real 18-year-olds playing 18-year-olds. And I think sometimes, that could be interpreted as not really acting, but they were acting. They're very much so. They all have varying levels of experience. So I think just over the course of several years, you learn what works and what doesn't.
Yeah. For those who haven't seen Pathogen, can you give them a little description out there?
Yeah, Pathogen is a zombie movie about a group of middle schoolers that kind of figure out that the zombie apocalypse is being started by contamination of the water supply. So they're trying to figure out how to survive, and also what really happened to the town and maybe the rest of the world. But it very much stays in a middle schooler's perspective, and it kind of deals with I don't want to ruin it, I guess, in case anybody sees it, but it's kind of grim in some ways.
Now, what about your second film, The Retelling? Tell us a little bit about that one, too. And I think you were 16 when you did that one? Yeah, about
that age range. That one took 3 years, so I kind of categorized that as being, from about 14 to 16, 17. No, 16. That seems right. But it took quite a bit of time, and kind of was bridge between Pathogen and Sucky Teen Romance and professionalism. For me, it was a very difficult process and a very, very dark story. It's a supernatural murder mystery, and it gets really dark. But that also helped me realize that I wanted to do more comedy, and I really didn't want the next film to be as dark as that one. And I probably would never get as dark as that one gets. I really wanted to make something, I don't know, that went that far to push my limits. And then I was like, no, not for me, not for me.
When are we going to get to see those out on release somewhere? Can they be seen now already?
Yeah. Well, we actually just stopped selling Pathogen from my website, which is cheesynuggets.com. Yes. So we had been selling those on DVD, and I would like sign them and ship them out from my house, kind of like Girl Scout cookies. I was like selling them. And if people just like wrote me a letter and said they wanted to see the retelling, I would just burn them a DVD and slip it in there too. And I never really sold that one. It's not that I was ashamed of it. It was just so much of a stepping stone for me. And I just kind of didn't want to put it out there. It played a couple of festivals, but very small ones. And I really just wanted to move on to Sucky Teen Romance because I already had the idea and I was excited about it. So those two films are out there. I've seen them at some video stores, believe it or not. and I think, I don't know, if you really want to find it, it's possible, but we don't sell them anymore.
Okay. What about My Sucky Teen Romance? We're here for the Chicago premiere and screening. Tell us all about it.
It's a teen horror comedy, I guess, about a group of kids at a science fiction convention who realize that real vampires have shown up pretending to be the pop culture impression of vampires, but really they're finding victims at the con through that. And so the kids have to use what they know about pop culture to stop the bad guys and also turn their friend back who had been turned by one of the vampires. So there's some references to some other popular vampires in the culture right now, but it's also very much its own story.
Is there any sparkling going on?
It's mentioned. I mean, because it takes place in a world where Twilight exists, and all the kids are tired of it, and they're like, "Oh, we don't want our generation being identified with this." And then they meet real vampires, and they're like, what do we do now? what things are true, what things aren't? And then we have an actor who, just by happenstance, looks very much like Mr. Cullen. So he kind of uses that to his advantage too, which was just something that worked out when we filmed it, not something that was originally written in the script. So I respect anything that took a creative effort, like I'm sure Twilight did. A lot of people involved with that. I mean no disrespect, but I think it's just interesting to kind of, all of the kids really had their own point of view that they were using when we made this film to kind of put a real teenager's perspective on it.
Not a lot of young people really have any idea what they want to do. Mm-hmm. And I'm just curious, how were you inspired and got the drive to go through what you've done, mm-hmm. to be 19 years old and having your third motion picture coming out? And this one is, you got a deal with the production company. I forget the name of it. MPI.
Dark Sky.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So how does a person get that kind of drive at so young an age? Tough question, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, I think everyone, I don't know. Yeah, I think everyone has their paths, and you figure things out at different points in your life. And if it was the same for everybody, it'd be boring. But for me, I was always so happy making movies. And before that, I loved watching movies and writing stories, and then something happened where I combined the two, and that's just what I wanted to do. And I think, I don't know, it's not that, I mean, there are things that are very difficult about the process, but they don't seem like inhibitors. Like, it doesn't seem like anything that would stop me from doing it. It just seems like something that we get through to do something else, because I always approach every project like it's not going to go the way that I'm thinking it's going to go now. And that always helps when things don't go that way, because then you just figure out what ends up working. So I guess I just feel very lucky to have found what I'm passionate about, and all I want to do is keep pursuing that.
College plans yet?
I applied to film school after high school. I went to a magnet high school, and the curriculum was really tough. And I just thought, I know I want to make movies, and it's okay if I make B's and, just so grades. And so I kind of went through all my school knowing that, and I just made so grades. And I applied to one film school, and I didn't get in. And I was kind of okay with that. I just wanted to keep making movies, and I wanted to try to get into school. Mm-hmm. But really, I think, again, like people have different paths, and film schools for some people, it's not for other people. And I'm always like open to learning things. So I've thought about taking classes in other areas that are just interesting to me, because I know how to make movies and I'm going to keep learning just by doing that. And I would probably say at this point, film school is not for me, but I love learning. I'm always learning. I think it's the best thing in the world.
So the DVD and Blu-ray will come out September 4th. 4th, right? The DVD and Blu-ray will come out September 4th. And that is cheesynuggets.com.
You could also order it on Amazon.
Amazon? I like Amazon. So that will be great. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.